Kendrick Lamar is a top-tier lyricist for a reason. If you don't think he's capable of having double meanings, of dissing two people within the same line, then you're not familiar with his pen. Now, there's been some really interesting stories circulating recently around everyone's favorite bipolar hero, villain, passive, aggressive, friend, not friend, enemy. I'm talking about Game in relation to Kendrick. Let's dive into the setup.
Let me go to the chat, make sure there's some people in here. Let me tell y'all what that call was about. That call was about Top was calling me to tell me that when these clips come out, we got to tell the whole. He said, I know you telling the whole story, but you got to tell, it got to be in the clip of the whole story, because he want everybody to understand Dot didn't just stop talking to him for no reason. After that video that dude shot in Compton, that changed everything.
The 100 video.
The 100 video. And I had spoke about that and when I said that, I told Wack and Game about that. And Top thing is like, hey, that gotta be it. It don't need to be perceived that Dot just stopped talking to Kendrick out of nowhere. I mean, Kendrick stopped talking to Game out of nowhere. Right. That was the thing that, you know what I'm saying, that did it.
So we broke it down pretty exhaustively, the long-standing history and beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. There is a lot of animosity there going back 10 plus years. There's a lot of hatred, a lot of back and forth. If you think Kendrick isn't petty, if you think Kendrick doesn't hold on to grudges, well, this right here is a great example of petty Kendrick time. And just showing from Stat Quo. Shout out to Stat Quo. Shout out to Justin Hunt as well. The company man. Got huge respect for both of them. But Stat Quo is basically sharing the anecdote from Top, because he was in the middle of conversating with Justin, and then Top called and wanted to set the record straight. So this is coming straight from Top Dog. This isn't speculation. This isn't, from the rumor mill. This is coming straight from Top in relation to Kendrick and why there was a rift between Game and Kendrick. All because Game decided to get on 100 with Drake, and he flew Drake out to LA, who we know Kendrick hates, who we know Kendrick has had a long-standing beef with that eventually culminated into one of the greatest rap battles, into one of the greatest diss track sessions of all time that will go down in hip-hop history. But now we are seeing and we are realizing exactly where the split between Kendrick and Game started from. Because there's been a lot of people talking. Obviously, we made videos on this, on kind of this, you don't normally get direct confirmation from Kendrick. Kendrick always keeps to himself. You don't really get Kendrick talking a lot on situations unless he decides to do it on wax. So this is one of those first times where you're getting really kind of crystal clear confirmation that, yes, there is a rift between Kendrick and Game. We've all suspected at it. We've all speculated over time, but you've never really had that concrete, clear-cut example of where the divide began. Everybody's guessed at this, but here it is right here. Here is the confirmation from Top of where the split began, and then the fallout that we've had ever since then. But it doesn't stop there. It's going to get even crazier, because this is about to now reframe one of those said diss tracks from that beef, from that battle between Kendrick and Drake. Check this out.
Y'all better not come to my studio with that fake shit.
This is the 100 video shoot in LA. Kendrick Lamar fan page. Shout out to this tweet. This is the reason why Kendrick titled his song 616 in LA. It all makes sense now. Look at the date. Look at the date on that video shoot. That video shoot date. 2015, June 16th. 6/16. It gets spookier. Now look, I said in my original breakdown, 6/16 in LA. Obviously, Kendrick was titling that to troll Drake's Name a Time, Name a Location series. In this case, Kendrick was flipping it, making it a West Coast thing. And for me, that was dropped on Tupac's birthday, 6/16. And we talk about the double writing of Kendrick. We talk about how Kendrick is capable of just stacking these types of layers, of seeing connections where often other MCs don't see those connections. And now we have a new meaning and a new appreciation for 6/16 in LA. 6/16 also being the date of Drake and the Game getting together to shoot the 100 video. And this for Kendrick was a huge moment in his eyes of betrayal, of bringing the enemy, of bringing the op out to the West Coast and kind of breaking apart that West Coast unity that Kendrick has always pushed for and wanted. So now with this new lens of 6/16 in LA, not only appreciating Pac, because I still think there's meanings to that, I also can't help but wonder if we need to have a re-listen of 616 in LA to see if there's more game disses and more game lines on this. Let's dive back into this.
Yeah. It's survival. I think somebody lying, smell somebody lying. I don't see no fire.
Even that simple intro, man. Listen, I have broken this down exhaustively. You can go check my original breakdown, but I don't see no fire. Somebody lying. No smoke without fire. Somebody's lying about things, but also see no fire. Liar, liar. Pants on fire. Come on.
Off-white sunseeker, had the marina. Fuck a phantom, I like to buy yachts when I get the fever. Wine cooler, spill on my white t-shirt, the sightseer. Trifecta, money, morals, and culture. That's my leisure, my visa. Passport tatted, I show up in Ibiza. Luke Callie's dwellings in Brooklyn just to book me some pizza. Who can reach us? Only God can teleport this type of freedom. God, my confession is yours. But who am I if I don't go to war? There's opportunity when living with loss. I discover myself would not fall short. Raise my hands to a falling sky. I fantasize me jumping planets, immortalized. I correspond. 3 angels watching me all the time. Put my children to sleep with a prayer, then close my eyes. Definition of peace. Tell me who gon' stop me. I come from love, and still cover my heart, then open me up. Remember when picked up a pen, lyrics that I can trust. Timid soul, staring in the mirror, asking where I was from often. I know this type of power is gon' cost, but I live in circadian rhythms of a shooting star. The mannerisms of Raphael, I can heal and give you art, but the industry's cooked as I pick the carcass apart. Yeah, somebody's lying. I can see the vibes on act.
And for me, it's interesting setups because Kendrick, as we've talked about, is a great storyteller. You get that on Meet the Grams. And as a part of being a great storyteller, he's great at just painting these pictures, these illustrative lyrics. And right here, you set up and you have more of a meditative Kendrick on a personal journey. And I talked about throughout this battle how Kendrick was kind of like walking this duality between being a sort of this monk, seeking peace, seeking to unite, but then also willing to raise the sword of hip hop, willing to be a warrior as well. Kind of this warrior monk embodiment that he has. And if it's time for war, well, I'm willing to go to war, but my soul seeks peace. And I always seek kind of that higher learning, that higher power, that rising above, that transcendence. And for me, this 616 in LA is just a great example of that, of how he's in the middle of a diss track battle right now. And instead of just coming out and just trying to saw off the head of his enemy right away and firing shots at Drake, he kind of paints this more as this sort of spiritual journey that he's having as he reflects on luxury, as he reflects on success. But also, for me, there's that duality because this luxury, this success that I've earned, this peace that I'm seeking, everything that I'm describing, rest in peace to Virgil Abloh, the Off-White, the yachts and all of that, you still have this Kendrick who's seeking a greater purpose. And you juxtapose that with the image of Drake, who also seeks luxury, who also brags about things, but has a very different style of lyricism around that luxury than you get from Kendrick here. For Kendrick, it's not just that. It's how he contrasts Drake because there's more that he stands for. And that for me is one of the points and purposes of this kind of setup, right? Instead of just going insult, insult, attack, 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 it's more self-reflective. It's more introspective. But at the same time, while he's being introspective, he's using that to highlight how his values, how his system, and what he raises up and what he pursues is very different than Drake, even though on the surface, you have two similar concepts in terms of talking about success and luxury. For Drake, it's very shallow. It's very surface level. Whereas for Kendrick, there's something deeper. And also, to me, this is a man sitting on like the brink, the edge, the precipice of war in the middle of a battle and just kind of looking and surveying the scene and just weighing things before he goes in even deeper. Because we know as this battle continues, things do get a lot darker. They take a much more serious turn and they're getting ready to. And this feels like the setup leading us into that. For me, it's just very intricate writing, but also you just step back and you think about what's happening in the battle at this moment in time. Not many artists would take this route. Not many artists would do this, essentially, with the first part and the first chunk of their verse. And I'm saying that because for me, I think that value system and that sort of like searching for that higher purpose, the different biblical references that we broke down, everything that we discussed, that spirituality, now you can see it in relation to how Kendrick is not just viewing Drake, but viewing other ops as well. other people that he is wary of and other people within the industry as he picks the carcass of the industry apart. And I can't help but wonder if these setups aren't just setting up for Drake now, but also think of the title. Think of what we know now relating to Game. Think of what we know now relating to that entire situation.
I think so.
Also for me, what I love.
Off-white Sunseeker at the marina. Fuck a phantom, I like to buy yachts when I get the fever.
Off-white Sunseeker at the marina. I love how he goes into this more aggressive. It's more of a trebly. It's a higher style of delivery from him. It's not like it's a lower, bassier Kendrick, but you still have that aggression, right? And I love just like the soulful sample cut underneath of this, because everything is kind of smoothed out. And the fact that he decides to go, okay, I'm not going to be melodic with this. I start off melodic because I get you kind of settled in and used to it. Now I'm going to go into attack mode. And that's just a nice sort of contradiction of what's happening musically right now, and just makes it add a different element and a different layer that we appreciate. And then it kind of comes out of that into more of the singing harmonic vibes that you get, more matching what's going on with the beat. But I love this decision to just go straight into attack mode from a rhythmic perspective and just to kind of sit in between these hits.
Off-white Sunseeker at the marina. Fuck a phantom, I like to buy yachts when I get the fever.
When I get the fever. Notice how the get is where the percussion hits. The fever, he's making sure fever, Sunseeker, marina, all of that is punching in the space, the more spacious bit in between the harder percussion hits. And he's kind of doing that because he's aggressive like the percussion, right? So it's like adding another layer of percussion. So instead of like having percussion on top of percussion, that's why he's not hitting those rhyme schemes on top of the percussion and the drum hits. He's hitting them in between. It's just a nice little punch, a nice little just approach to it.
Wine cooler spill on my white t-shirt, the sightseer. Trifecta, money, morals, and culture. That's my leisure, my visa. Passport tatted, I show hub in Ibiza. Luke Callie's dwellings in Brooklyn just to book me some pizza. Who can reach us? Only God can teleport this type of freedom. God, my confession is yours. But who am I if I don't go to war?
My confession is yours, but who am I if I don't go to war? That's what I mean if Kendrick just surveying the battle in the landscape. And notice right here, this switch out of that more aggressive delivery and kind of just like singing and more melodic here.
Best opportunity when living with loss. I discover myself would not fall short. Raise my hands to a falling sky. I fantasize me jumping planets, immortalized. I correspond. 3 angels watching me all the time. Put my children to sleep
all the time. Correspond, fantasize, me free. I love how he goes internal with the punch. Me free. Very breathy delivery, and then comes back out into the more multi-syllabic external schemes as well. It's great rhyme writing on top of storytelling, on top of higher concepts. This is the higher MC and I'm talking about.
Lead with a prayer, then close my eyes. Definition of peace. Tell me who gon' stop me. I come from love, Estelle. Cover my heart, then open me up. Remember when picked up a pen, lyrics that I can trust. Timid soul, staring in the mirror, asking where I was from often. I know this type of power is gon' cost, but I live in circadian rhythms of a shooting star. The mannerisms of Raphael, I can heal and give you art, but the industry's cooked as I pick the carcass apart. Yeah, somebody's lying. I can see the vibes on act. Even he looking compromised. Let's peel the layers back. Ain't no
Ack is still compromised to this day.
brownie points will be in your chest, harassing ant. Fucking with good people, make good people go to bed. Conspiracies about cash, dog, that's not even the leak. Find the jewels like cash, dog. I just need you to think. Are you finally
Find the jewels like Cash Doll? And we talked about Cash Doll having her jewels robbed. Cash Doll and the rumors that she was dating Drake at one point, that Drake was trying to do business with her, so tying that in. But obviously Cash XO in the weekend and that whole back and forth. And Kendrick, again, the enemy of my enemy is my friend in a sense. So I love how he's kind of, on one sense, throwing doubt into Drake's mind, but at the same time kind of like shoring up other people who are Drake's enemies against him. It's just a clever 2 birds with 1 stone type of scheme. And we also talked about just how you have a mole in your camp. You can't trust your own people. He already knows Drake is naturally paranoid. He knows that. Drake has expressed his paranoia within his own music before and his own, insecurities that he has. So Kendrick, being a good battle rapper in this sense, is going to tap into those insecurities. He's going to just kick up the dust, and he's going to see what happens to Drake. Just plant those seeds in his mind here.
chest, harassing ant? Fucking with good people, make good people go to bed. Conspiracies about cash, dog, that's not even the leak. Find the jewels like cash, dog. I just need you to think. Are you finally ready to play? Have you ever, let's see, have you ever thought that OVO is working for me? Fake bully, I hate bullies. You must be a terrible person. Everyone inside your team is whispering that you deserve it. Can't tussy slide up out of this one, it's just go resurface. Every dog gotta have his day. Now live in your purpose. It was fun until you start to put money in the streets, then lost money cause they came back with no receipts. I'm sorry that I live a boring life. I love peace, but war ready if the world is ready to see you bleed. The Elohim, KTW, no you can't sleep. These images trouble you.
The Elohim, and again, is diabolical from Kendrick. You talk about tapping into Hebrew, the Elohim, the God, Drake's Jewish side in those roots as well. Kendrick knows what he's doing when he stacks this up. And again, this greater spiritual journey that he's on. But for me, a lot of these lines are still re-listening to them. Can't Tootsie slide your way out of this, Drake. Tootsie slide. So he's letting you know where this is going. This is more for Drake. This is not necessarily taking it for Game. And I don't want to bend that with my listening ear and just try to like conveniently fit pieces into this puzzle and pieces into this equation. This feels more like directed at Drake, but also you could have sort of that Game shade because Drake, you can't trust who's around you. The people who are around you, they'll backstab you. People who are around you are rooting for your downfall. Well, who's someone who has a history of getting involved in circles and falling out and dissing people? The 50 Cents, the Dr. Dre's, the Eminems. Well, we're talking about Game. So you can't help but wonder, there's a little bit of that underneath as well from Kendrick.
No purpose. It was fun until you start to put money in the streets, then lost money cause they came back with no receipts. I'm sorry that I live a boring life. I love peace, but war ready if the world is ready to see you bleed. The Elohim, KTW, no you can't sleep. These images trouble you. Know the wires in your circle should puzzle you. If you were street smart, then you would have caught that your entourage is only to hustle you.
If you were street smart, you would have caught that your entourage was only to hustle you. I love that because you think of Kendrick calling Drake a culture vulture. You talk about Kendrick saying that Drake will code switch. Well, Drake, you talk gangster. You say that you know all these big bad people and you threaten violence, right? But if you was really from the streets, if you was street smart, then you would recognize the hustle that's going on in your inner circle. It's a nice, clever, just on the surface insult, on the surface diss, but then you start thinking about Kendrick's, one of his greater angles against Drake and how it just leans a little bit deeper there. Simple line, but also goes a lot deeper. Love that setup.
If you were street smart, then you would have caught that your entourage is only to hustle you. 100 niggas that you got on salary, and 20 of them want you as a casualty. And one of them is actually next to you, and 2 of them is practically tired of your lifestyle. Just don't got the audacity to tell you, but let me tell you some game, cause I can see you, my little homie. You playing dirty with propaganda, hit blow up on you. You're playing nerdy with Zach Bia and Twitter bots, but
This is where you could hear some Game lines, right? Let me put you on game. Simple phrase, putting someone on game, giving them that knowledge, right? Let me put you on game, but also using some of that street talk to Drake, right? And we just talked about the angle of how Drake isn't really street. So let me put you on game versus you're not street enough to know people that are hustling you around you. Kendrick putting a wedge here. Who's one of those people around Drake? Brought Drake out to LA. Has major street affiliations, major gang affiliations. And then he says 100, right? Drake and the Game song, 100. Let me put you on game. Game doubling for the Game.
them is actually next to you, and 2 of them is practically tired of your lifestyle. Just don't got the audacity to tell you, but let me tell you.
And I love this game of him going, 2 of them don't think this. 1 of them thinks this way. Kendrick lays it all out. All these people are against you. And then he gets very specific, but he doesn't name drop, but he gets very specific with the numbers. Just showing that it's not just one mole. There's not just one person that you shouldn't trust. It's your whole inner circle you should be looking side-eyed at, right? Divide and conquer. Plant a wedge and watch an insecure man, a paranoid man, fall on his own sword, fall apart, and not even focus on the battle. This is what Kendrick's trying to do here with these angles.
It's practically tired of your lifestyle. Just don't got the audacity to tell you, but let me tell you some game, cause I can see you, my little homie. You playing dirt.
I can see you, my little homie. Now that is the one line where I think you could go, put you on game. You my little homie. He's sunning Drake there, but also, is that a little bit of Game shade as well? Right? Because you always tried to lil bro me, Game. You always tried to lil homie me. So take that, flip it back on someone who always tries to act like the bigger, badder OG to the West Coast to me.
Audacity to tell you, but let me tell you some game, cause I can see you, my little homie. You playing dirty with propaganda, hit blow up on you. You're playing nerdy with Zach Bia and Twitter bots, but your
Zach Bia, more LA West Coast references.
reality can't hide behind Wi-Fi. Your little means is losing steam, they figured you out. The forced opinions is not convincing, I need a new route. It's time that you look around on who's around you. Before you figure that you're not alone, ask what Mike would do.
Still chills hearing that verse from Kendrick, man. And again, so many layers, so much to break down. I did do a full breakdown of that, but the Michael Jackson references, Drake, first person shooter, running around with the glove, bragging about how he's one away from Michael and breaking those records. And again, you talk about paranoia, you talk about inner circles falling apart with Michael Jackson, and just those tie-ins too, but so many layers from Kendrick. But going back and listening to this, one, man, I still appreciate a lot of it still hits for me. You appreciate the Drake angles even more and the way that he went about this in this dissection. And then two, you talk about 616 in LA. For me, him choosing 616 is for Drake, also for the game, but it still feels more so for Drake in terms of, you know, that's where you crossed the line with me as well. You crossed the line coming over June 16th, flying over and filming in LA. But then, true Kendrick fashion, that's also pointed at the game. And then these game lines. And again, these disses are Drake. These disses are Drake. I'm not going to like disqualify that and magically say, no, this is all for the game, for the sake of a narrative, because it's not. But it still feels like this is for Drake, but this is also for the people around Drake. This is also for the people around that circle. And there's one person I'm definitely looking at, and I'm looking at sideways. And I can't trust him, but also, while I can't trust him, I don't think you could trust him either, Drake. And that's for game. And you could see the way that this is positioned. And you could see the way that this is led there towards the end of this verse. Clever writing from Kendrick. Enjoyed diving back into that one.